classical period, which took place between 1730 and 1820, was rooted in the values order and reason. Both Roman and Greek culture were idealized because of their expression of these values. The philosophical and intellectual movement that stemmed from this was the Enlightenment, which stressed reason as an essential part of the human experience. Artists and musicians aspired to develop work characterized by clarity and regularity of structure, as well as the ideal of natural simplicity. New musical styles were developed in order to perfectly capture a demonstration of musical logic. Despite later styles developing over time in contrast to these ideals, the music of the classical period continues to thrive today due to its preservation in Western concert tradition. Further elaborating on the Enlightenment, it took place in the last half of the 18th century and ended in the early decades of the 19th century. In this era, aristocratic sovereigns ruled throughout Europe, those such as Louis XV in Versailles and Frederick the Great in Prussia. Those who were in power gained it through their ancestors, as it was a hereditary right. Some innovations that happened during the Enlightenment include the steam engine, the cotton gin, electricity, and vaccinations, each allowing for society to run better and more efficient. The Enlightenment was considered the age of reason, partly because of philosophers delving into social and political issues due to reason and science. Music during the classical period was quite elegant and known for their lyrical melodies. Melodies used in classical style were symmetrical and balanced four-bar phrases and cadences. They were stepwise melodies, which meant that they moved by small leaps, and the range was very narrow. Repetition and sequence was also a key factor in classical melodies, and it helped in fulfilling the listener's needs for unity and variety. Patronage or sponsorship was what kept the culture of the 18th century thriving. The aristocracy viewed arts as a necessary adornment of life in this system, and music was seen as part of the elaborate lifestyle of the nobility. Because of the social events that continuously took place, there was always demand for new works, and composers supplied whatever was desired of them. Through this system, musicians were able to gain economic security, which was a benefit of patronage. Also, women were able to become musicians under the patronage system, which was another plus side to it. Instead of performances being held in the typical palace setting, musicians began performing their pieces at concert halls, which gave composers new places to perform their work. Some notable composers from the classical period include Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Ludwig van Beethoven. Mozart, born in Austria in 1756, was very gifted and began composing at age 5. During his life, he rebelled against social restrictions that the patronage system had forced onto the people. By the age of 25, Mozart had established himself in Vienna as a freelance musician. One of Mozart's most famous pieces was Eine kleine Nachtmusik, which was probably one of his most well-known pieces as well. Beethoven, born in Germany in 1770, is one of the greatest composers who ever lived. He was the first musician to receive a salary while he was allowed to compose however he chose. In his late 20s, Beethoven began to go deaf, and this led to him withdrawing from society. At one point, he felt so low in his life that he contemplated suicide, but he refrained because of how much his music meant to him. Today, Beethoven's music is still as compelling as it was during the classical period, and his career bridged the transitions from old society to the new. Some of Beethoven's most famous work includes his symphonies, which he made 9 in total of. His Symphony No. 5 is the model of the symphony genre.